All right, time to do the budget for November. Overall, we spent about $8,000, and I'll go through the details. Thought a good spot to do this was in the O'Hare Airport. We actually had half the month was flying and travel international. The other part of the month was transporting the new Sprinter van to Seattle from Arizona, and some of those costs in there. We paid for the parking of the van at the storage lot, which ended up being $300. But anyway, I'll go through the details. Food and dining, which is the amount that we pay to obviously eat and dine out, but also for clothes purchases, stuff like that, ended up being $2,000 a month this month, which is what we normally would want to spend. So that worked out well. Travel, which was quite expensive this month, was $4,000. We had flights to Italy, also flights to from Sicily back to Rome, from Rome to Monaco back, but those were all fairly inexpensive. But overall, we also had we booked flights that were cancelable for credits back in like January or whatever for this period of time, not knowing if we could fly international. So we had flights to Hilton Head, Key West, Cancun, Minneapolis, and Phoenix. All those got canceled, and we have credits for that. But those are in those numbers, so that's at least $1,000, maybe $1,500 in flight credits that we'll use later. That's included in that $4,000. So it's a little less from reality, but we have a lot of flight credits. We have $800 from Delta, which was pre-COVID. We have $700 or $800 from Portugal Air, which was pre-COVID. And then we have a bunch of them from these cancellations. So we need to fly a little bit more. Hopefully international travel opens up next summer so we can do an Asian trip, or I guess back to Europe if we so need to. And nothing wrong with Europe, but looking forward to some more adventure type of places to go to. For entertainment, which is one of our categories, we spent about $350 there. It was mainly a bike tour that we took in Rome. Housing expenses, lodging, hotels, hostels, or whatever, that ended up being about $1,600, which is pretty good. Seeing that we were traveling international, we stayed in Chicago a couple nights. We were international for about 19 days. And so that was a fairly decent number. We usually plan on about $2,000 a month there, so we were just under on that. And that was it. That was our expenses for the month. Like I said, about $8,000, $4,000 of that, half of that coming from our travel. Within the travel too, we had train tickets. So each time we went from the Rome airport to Rome, it was about $35 one way. So we did that five times, I think, 4 or 5 times. So adds up pretty quick. And then we had a train to Naples. We had the ferry boat to Sicily. We also had the rental car in there, which wasn't bad. It was about $160 for a week on Sicily, so that was fairly cheap. Most of it was fairly inexpensive. It adds up. We also have the fuel that we use to deliver the van to Seattle, and fuel prices aren't cheap right now, so that costs a little bit of money, but not too bad. So anyway, that's what we had. December is looking a little different. We're gonna be staying in the Tacoma, Seattle area till the middle of the month, and then we're going to go back to our hometown and stay in my parents' house. So it'll be a little cheaper than for housing for sure. Flights, we'll have a flight to Seattle, and then the flight to Madison, and then the flight to New York City. Oh, we'll actually have New York City housing there. We're going to stay in Times Square, but that's only like $250 for 2 nights on Times Square, New Year's Eve. So hopefully the variant doesn't mess up our plans there, but that's what we have. So anyway, so I expect that we'll catch up on some of these travel numbers for sure in December. So anyway, I will update you in December, or I guess the 1st of January, on our numbers. But it gives you an idea. The purpose of this is for people that are interested in doing this to see how much it can be It doesn't necessarily, you can do this cheaper, you can do this much more expensive. You can stay in Hilton's, you can fly first class, business class, which would be fun to do as I get older. That may be something, but I'm not sure if I can, because we only paid $300 round trip to Italy. You're looking at quite a bit more, and I'm not even sure I could pull the trigger on that, even if money was not an object. So, but it's to give people an idea of what it takes to travel. And many people can afford these numbers, and they don't even need to be as high as this. And $8,000 this month offsets, I don't remember what last month was, but let's say it was $4,000 or whatever. It averages out, because we carry these numbers forward, it averages out. So one thing I'll talk about really quick here is a carry forward. So like travel, we carried forward now, we're about $800 for December, after some of the expenses of December comes out. So that's not a whole lot. So we'll catch that back up over the next few months. Housing, now we have $2,300 after basically all our housing costs are done for December, already paid and booked into this number. So that's pretty good. So that'll carry through for other months that are more expensive. But I guess that's it. Hopefully gives you some information to take a look at your numbers. I use Intuit's Mint app on my phone, and so I allocate everything coming off the credit cards into the special accounts. And we do use credit cards on the road. We never did before. We just did debit cards, and we always pay the credit cards off. We have no debt. So that's one thing, is credit cards. We use a travel card. We use Sapphire Reserve. That gives us lounge access. That also gives us credit, or like 1.5 points toward every dollar that we spend. And then if you do certain, if you book rental cars to them, you get like 10 points for every dollar, so whatever. It's not a commercial for Sapphire Reserve, but that's one of the few travel cards out there that gives you lounge access to airports all over the world. So that alone is worth it, because many times, we're in O'Hare right now, they don't have a lounge here, but many places do, especially international, and then they're very nice, and you can sit in there and have dinner, drink. I don't drink alcohol, but if you do, you can sit there at their bar and drink for free. So something to think about. But anyway, we will see you next month. Definitely hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and if you have comments below to let us know if you have any questions, because something that I'm passionate about is travel and travel expenses. So we'll see you tomorrow or next month.